How's it going, everyone? We're here once again for my top skins video, and we're going to start off with my personal top 10. Before we jump into that, if you're new, these skins are not in the game yet, and they may never be. It just depends how it goes. 8 to 10 are chosen every week by the game's creator and lead dev, Helk, and then after that, it moves on to next week. So, hey, there that is. Also, I'd like to say Happy New Year as we're popping off into the new year. So, starting off here, we've got the Cargo Heli Poncho and Bandana. And the Cargo Heli set has been very popular, and this is just a very creative poncho. I love the dog tags and the wires hanging off of it, and just the chicken wire and everything else just looks really, really well done. It fits with the set, and I think it's just so scrappy and fits Rust perfectly. Next up, we have ourselves the Monarch set, and it comes in a blue and red version. We have the red for the cap, as you can see here. And you can just see right here in the back, it is actually still a cap, just missing the actual front. And then if you have the jacket, you can take a look at it here. This is, of course, the blue version. It's definitely very regal looking. Next, we have some backpacks. It's the Arctic Hazmat backpack, to be specific. This one here by Zed Skipper has two different versions. One has more blue than the other. I kind of like the more blue one, as you know, that's the majority of the color of the hazmat itself. But this just looks really great, and it goes really good with the set itself. I love the little details to it, and it's always nice when someone takes inspiration from an item in-game and makes stuff match up to it. Then we have the continuation of the black gold set with the large backpack, and this is just one of those kind of no-brainer ones. It's going to make a ton of sense. It looks really, really nice. I mean, it has a military look, but it also looks like a luxury handbag somehow, and they just did a really good job with it. It's a very, very nice, clean-looking design for sure. Then moving on to our deployables, we've got two for you this week with the 5-star motel sheet metal door. I mean, look, it's got 5 stars. You've got to trust them, right? I just love the look of it. It's really well done. It just has kind of that retro vibe of a old motel sign that you can still see easily out there, in the US at least. And I love the look of it, for sure. Then over here we've got the titanium armored door, and it's just one of those things that just fits armored tier. That titanium look is absolutely amazing. I know people have seen this and said they wish there was an armored skin that was titanium, or at least all chromed out like this. So I guess the best we can do is some doors. When we go ahead and kill the lights here, you can see that the door itself has that really cool glow that the rest of the set has. And then if we pop on over here to the sheet metal door, you can see that it also has a very nice kind of neon to go along with it, but I love the blue kind of shading that looks like the light coming off of the sign on the door itself. Alright, moving on to our weapons. First up, we've got the construction level sword, and this is definitely a really fun one. It really does look like someone took an old crusty level and made it into a sword. I mean, the best at least you could do with how thin the sword's, the area of work is there. But it's very creative, and I love the design. Moving on, we have a DB for you, and this one is just absolutely beautiful. It's shiny, it's chromed, it is all hot rodded out. I think Little Ranger did an amazing job on this, as they usually do with their skins, and this just really captures that like 1950s Chevrolet kind of color mixed with the hot rod. Very cool chromed out vibe. Aiming down the sights here, you can see more chrome and red, very kind of shiny but used. Screwdriver for you right there. Then moving on, we have ourselves the Hellfire Python, which has this nice kind of like a little, just bit of a flame up front and then on the grip. And then the rest of it has this very kind of subtle carved flames into the body of the gun, which I think looks quite nice. Even down the sides, you do have red dots. They do not glow, even though they kind of look like it. And there we are for our reload. Last but not least, we do have a grenade for you, and it's the Ultramarine F1 grenade. This has been a very popular set, and this is just a easy skin for the grenade. We don't get them very often. There's a glowing version, which is just fun, and I mean, if you're raiding, you're already being loud anyways, right? So I could see this one selling quite well, especially if the glow version made it in. So let's go ahead and take a look at all the other skins that have been submitted this week. Alright, starting off with our clothing, we've got the Molotov Man for you, and it is a full burlap set, head wrap, chest, and trousers. As you can see here, it's just got this kind of fiery theme, firecracker. It reminds me of a lot of stuff. It reminds me of, it honestly looks like the warnings and colors and labels on a actual fireworks or firecracker box kind of here in the US that I see a lot. So I think that's kind of just a really fun little design. Next, we have yet another black hoodie and pants set for you with the Void Runner set. This has a very kind of like old leather look to it that I think they pulled off quite well. Maybe it's pleather, I don't know. But it definitely looks very clean. I could see a lot of people liking this as a black set, but do we have too many at this point when it comes to hoodie and pants or clothing in general, or would you guys like to see this one pop in the store? Next up, we have a jacket skin, and it's the Lab Rat jacket, and this is just done so well. You've got like a little Cobalt card there to log in. They've got some stuff in their pockets, and then you've got like a little bandage. Looks like they've been hurt a little bit themselves, and it's just this ratty old jacket, and I think they just did such a good job. It really just fits into Rust. Next, we have a continuation with the Commando set with the road sign gloves and the boots, and as you can see, it has that same kind of carbon fiber look, very clean design to them, as you can see there. And then the boots just continue that along. They look like they have nice kind of woven fiber for breathing, and then the rest is kind of like a hardened carbon fiber again. So really keeping with the theme there. A lot of people like this as a kind of like cheaper blackout set, I think. So hey, it is also keeping pretty good value on the market as well. Next, we have a Riot helmet, which has been turned into a pair of giant ski goggles, and I think they did such a really good job with it. It looks a little weird from the side, but from the front, I mean, it's just absolutely well done. I could see all sorts of people really enjoying this if it popped in. Next, we have a continuation in the Black Substance set, which I can definitely say has a xenomorph inspiration for sure now. Look at that mouth and that rib cage. It very much so looks very xenomorphy. I think they've done a really good job at doing their own thing, but keeping it still in the realm of being very noticeable of where the inspiration has come from. Next, we have a really cool high qual set for you, the Rave Up face mask and chest piece, and apparently cargo ships on the way. So as you can see here, it just has this really cool kind of disco ball glass shard thing going on, and it's very colorful. I think they did a really good job on this. It's quite a cool looking disco piece. Lastly, for our high qual, we have the Shadow Breaker set, and the whole thing just looks like a giant pair of jaws. So the chest piece looks like a jaw, and then you have the jaw right here in the face mask, a jaw up on the top there. Everything's a jaw. The back's a jaw, jaws, teeth all over the place. Next, for backpacks, we have ourselves the Chrome Large Backpack. As you can see, it just says backpack, and then the whole thing just kind of looks like it's covered in like a chrome material. So there you have that. The straps themselves don't seem to be too chromed out. And there it is, chrome backpack. Next up, we have the Comics Large Backpack. As you can see, it has that little kind of design to it that makes it look like it has that hand-drawn on white paper look that the comic set is famous for. Always has a little smiley face. You can see it's a little button right there. And there's some other details here and there, like a little flower sticking up. And that's basically it. Comic set, large backpack. Next up, we have the Hack Pack by Voodoo, and the whole thing has this kind of like little hacker thing set up on it. There's a camera, you've got a battery pack, and then you've got this little pad with a screen, and there's another one that goes around here to what looks like a walkie of some sort, and other radio communication. Definitely a fun little design for a backpack. Next up, we have ourselves a medical backpack, and as you can see, it says first aid. It has that big green kind of, universally recognized green for medical. Got the big cross there on it. Then you have another little medical pin. And, well, there it is. If you want to be the team medic, or at least recognized as it, this could be the backpack for you. As for our backpacks this week, we've got the Yum Yum backpack by Saiho. And as you can see here, it basically is a giant chocolate backpack with pink frosting, and it still has a little bit of the wrapping around, of course, thankfully the strap, so chocolate isn't on you there, and the bottom to, I assumably, hold it all together. Alright, moving on to deployables, we have the small plastic box, and this is just done really well. It looks like a plastic crate that has one of those like interlocking foldable tops. Even has food scribbled into it there, and what looks like an old recipe of some sort, or what else could be put in here. Berries, seed, fuels, components, cards, etc. Then over here we have ourselves a small little recycle box that has a big glow to it. It also kind of has a cool little like design to it. Kind of looks like it's all made out of metal kind of scrap itself. Moving on over here to large boxes, we've got the Golden Ashes large box. Then we have the amplifier large box. Definitely has kind of like a retro look to it for those amps. Then we have ourselves the cute large box. Comes in two versions as of right now. You can see the green and the default. Then over here we have the Raiders school bus. And a tavern large box. Moving on to our next box over here, we have the Blue Shield large box. Looks like it's made out of containers, but the same stuff as the future primitive shield. Then over here we have ourselves the Symbol large box. Definitely beautifully carved. Moving on from that, we've got the Furnace Chef version 2. This thing has always lived in my nightmares, but it looks like one of those old kind of like, you know, ceramic decorations that some people would have in their kitchens, and it's just turned into this nightmare fuel hilarious furnace. Then moving on, speaking of nightmare fuel, we've got whatever this is going on, the Franken Fridge. Yeah, I don't know if you want to keep anything in there, because if it wasn't rotten already, I have a feeling it might turn. Jokes aside, definitely a very cool design. Moving on to our next thing, we've got a creative little rug here, the Vent Rug. If you want to put fake looking vents or just kind of decorate up the base to make it look more industrial, this would be a fun one for that. Moving on to our doors, we have the Shattered Ice door version 2. As you can see, there's a frozen sign stuck in there. You can see some neon lights kind of poking through, and that's the fluorescent lights back here from the back. And as you can see, there's like little switches and electrical for them all. I think they just did a really nice job on it. Moving on to sheet metal doors, our first one here is going to be the Serpent sheet metal door. It has two versions, one with and without a glow. Then we have ourselves the Neon Baby Hazmat, Metal Wrecked Railroad door, Car Tire door, the Glowing Beauty sheet metal door, the Voltage sheet metal door, and definitely really love how this one pops both with and without the lights on. This was definitely a runner for my top 10 this week. Then over here we have ourselves a very kind of like geometric design with the geometric sheet metal door. Wow, you gotta love that right there. That wasn't on purpose. Then we've got the Happy Pig metal door, complete with nipple piercings and ear piercings. Yeah. We've got a single double door for you guys this week, the Happy New Year's sheet metal double door. Moving on from that, we have our garage doors, starting with the Tech Boost garage door. This is the black version. Last time I think we showed you the white version of the armor, so I want to go with the dark version of this one. You can see both down in the collection link in my description, as always. Then moving on, we've got a continue with the Wolf Warrior set with the garage door, which is really well done. The runes glow, the wolf looks mean, and it has a pretty cool looking roller design as well. Moving on, we've got some art for you with the Snake garage door by Power. Then moving along, we have the Not Friendly garage door, Rustmania garage door, Shuttle garage door, Rustography garage door, Goldmine garage door. Then moving on to our next one here, the Hypno Demon, and I can't help but see an owl and then the Mothman from Fallout 76 in this, with the many swirly things that look like eyes up here. But yeah, what do you guys see from that one? Then our last garage door for this week is going to be the Neon Boom Raider. And we do have one last door. It's going to be a armored single with the old computer. Love how much they utilized it, and I love how much this looks like the back of a PC. They just did a really good job. It's quite a fun little design. So let's kill our lights here and take a look at our glow. Oh, it's important to note, both have glowing rollers there. Then we have another glowing roller there. And a little bit of a reflection of lights on both rollers, which means you should be able to see them. Our double door. We cruise on down over here to our sheet metal doors. And then we'll look at the back of that wood door for you. We can cruise on over to our furnace, which just kind of has a normal furnace glow, but man, does it highlight the scream on the face of that thing. And then we can head on over to our boxes, and the tavern glows quite nicely. And you've got all the lights on the school bus, including the stop sign. And then we can cruise all the way down here to these two boxes. Really like the purple glow on that one, looks nice. And the recycle box glows quite beautifully as well. Alright, moving on to tools and weapons. First off, we have the crazy snail rock for you. And this one is just hilarious looking. It does actually look like this really weird kind of snail. You got the bright colored shell and then the pink body and those crazy looking eyes. Then we have the Rock 2025 BC, and it's kind of like a little New Year's thing for Rust, and you can see the 2025 BC there, and you've got a guy on horseback with a bow, various little Rust symbols, a scrap heli. There's all sorts of little fun stuff going on. Then moving on, we have ourselves the Otherworldly Rock, a nice little continuation in the set by JJ. It comes in two versions, one that glows and one that doesn't, so as you can see, there's that glow. Moving on to our other weapons here, we have a crossbow for you, the Hunting Trophy Crossbow version 2. Definitely very beautifully done. I like the kind of change in the tone of the wood and so forth for this one. It kind of fits, I think, a lot better. Moving on, we have a very wooden DB for you. As you can see, the wooden double barrel turned out quite well as a continuation of that set. It just looks really scrappy and funny. I mean, this thing looks like it would literally explode if you used it once, but hey, that's kind of the vibe of Rust, right? Then moving on, we have ourselves a Python for you here with the Grapharunic. Love that name. So yeah, it's graphics and their runes, and I think it looks quite nice carved. There's also an all gold version as well you can check out down in the video description. Aiming down the sights, you have a silver tip against the gold back. And there's our reload. Next we have the Speed Rage Sap for you. Nice little continuation with the green little drawings here and there. Also love kind of like the green stripes there on the top of the gun. Aiming down the sights, we have ourselves a green tip to match the rest of it. Next we have the Tank Armor Thompson, and good continuation in that set. Has lots of little pieces missing, very rusty, as you would expect. Aiming down the sights, a nice little red tip against the rusty backing. Moving on, we have some MP5s for you, starting out with the Shadow MP5. Has a very sleek kind of, military look to it, with some bright red here and there on the grips. Aiming down the sights, you do have a slightly cut sight with a nice red tip. Next we have the Silver Dark MP5. Has a very kind of nice chrome and black design. That's very, very, very shiny. Aiming down the sights, you also have a nice red tip. And it also has a cut stock, as you can see here. Then we have the Sweet Dreams MP5 for you. This has two different versions, one with and without transparency. So as you can see here, they did cut a little bit of the sight, but not all of it. They're definitely very interesting kind of design to continue with the set. Then over here, as we move on to rifles, we've got the Steampunk SAR for you, version 2, and it looks like they kind of changed up the colors of it and so forth, and I think it looks a lot better than it did before. Aiming down the sights here, you just have gold on gold. Next, on to our ARs, we have the Chalk Menace AR for you. This has two versions, one in without a stock. As you can see, it has a nice little detail all drawn across it, various rust things, and even a fish that's screaming for help. Definitely a fun design. The only thing I'd say is the black on black for the sights is a little disappointing. A tiny bit of red there wouldn't have hurt. Moving on, we have the Invader AK-47 for you, and it just has a kind of like alien kind of design on the writing to it. Very kind of hushed colors with the green and the darks and gray kind of design. Very beat up. Aiming down the sights, so you do have kind of a slightly darker charcoal kind of tip against the gray-black there, but not too huge of a difference. Then we have the Red Skull AR. It has a very kind of non-camo, and then you've got this big spray-painted skull, just smack dab right in the middle there. Aiming down the sights, you do have a black tip against the kind of green and grays, kind of, I would call it. Then we've got the AK-47 Boom, and you know, just in case you didn't know why it was called Boom, it says Boom and Bam and Pow and all sorts of stuff all over it across the kind of graffiti scrawled coloring. Then as we take a look down the sights, it does have red tips, and there's our reload. Moving on, we have the Cursed AR for you, a nice little continuation of the Curse set. As you can see, it has like cloth draped across it, as most of the other things do, all kind of spooky looking. And you've got runes and other stuff scrawled in there. There's an old belt wrapped around the mag, and the grips, and the whole shovel and everything just is all done up to look dirty and grimy. Aiming down the sights, you have a red tip against the black, and it almost looks like a little ghost face staring back at you there. Then if we go ahead and move on, we've got some LRs for you this week. The first one's going to be a continuation of the Cybercore set. As always, this is just looking stunning, and it was definitely a contender in my top 10. I love all the little details done to it. It definitely just has such a clean, awesome look that I see a lot of people loving. Aiming down the sights, it has this crazy cut sight, which is just, I don't even know. So hey, there you go. How do you guys feel about that crazy cut for an LR? Next LR for you is going to be the Yum Yum LR, and it has two versions. This happens to be the version 2, which is kind of more of a purple color. The version 1 has more of a red look to it. Definitely looks like some kind of creature from an alien planet. Aiming down the sights, you do have a black tip against the kind of fading, yeah, it's kind of like a more red purple in the front there, so that reddish purple paint. Then we have ourselves the Ocelot LR, and as you can see, it has this beautiful ocelot painted on the side here. The rest of it has a nice green and black kind of pattern theme going on. Aiming down the sights, you do have a green ring, a black front sight with a red tip. Last but not least, we do have an L9, and this one is the Spec Ops L9 by Cubist, and I just love the ghillie design to this with the camo mesh and all that, and I think a lot of people that love the militaristic looking guns would really love this skin. Aiming down the sights here, you can still see there's a bit of a camo print kind of faded and scuffing off, and there we go for our reload. But that's going to do it, everybody. Sound off down in the comment section below which ones you will hope to have come in this next week. I hope you all have a happy upcoming new year. Thanks for watching, and stay rusty.